Hello, I have a question for everyone in the group. Why do people like today's reality shows in Bulgaria so much, follow them constantly, admire certain characters, comment on them, devote so much energy and attention to them, and dream of being there like them?
That is such a fascinating and important question. It's one that really goes far beyond just simple entertainment. It actually opens up a window into our shared human psychology. So let's explore the powerful forces that make reality television so compelling for so many of us. Today, we're going to go on a little journey to understand the deeper needs that these shows really fulfill. We'll look at the psychology of us, the viewer, and also the motivations of those people who dream of being up on that screen. Because at its core, this whole thing is a story about connection, identity, and that universal search for recognition. Okay, so to begin, let's start with the most obvious reasons we find ourselves drawn to these shows. What is it about them that hooks us right from the get-go, just on a surface level? Well, at our core, we're social beings, right? We have this innate curiosity about other people's lives, their fights, their relationships, all those emotional moments. Reality shows give us this kind of simulated window into those lives. It creates a feeling of authentic observation, even though we know it's all happening inside a very carefully produced environment. These shows also work as a kind of emotional release, a catharsis. Think about it. After a long, stressful day, watching allows us to feel intense emotions, anger, joy, suspense, but from a totally safe distance, with zero real-world risk to us. It becomes this way to process drama that isn't ours, and that provides a real psychological release. And then, of course, there's the big one, escape. Immersing ourselves in someone else's constructed world can be a really powerful way to step away from our own routines, our boredom, or even our dissatisfaction. For just a little while, their manufactured drama can totally overshadow our own reality. So we've talked about the surface appeal, but now let's go a layer deeper and see how these shows connect with our own inner world and our fundamental sense of who we are. This brings us to a really key concept called psychological projection. As viewers, we often see parts of ourselves reflected in the people on screen. We project our own qualities onto them, both the good parts and, the not-so-good parts. So when a character we identify with succeeds, it can almost feel like our own personal win. And this creates this incredibly powerful feeling of possibility. It's this idea of, I can too. When we see an ordinary person suddenly achieve fame, it plants this little seed of belief in us. It makes that kind of success feel maybe just a little bit more within reach for us too. Okay, now let's zoom out a bit. Let's pull the lens back from the individual and look at the society we all live in. How does our modern, super-connected world shape the purpose and the appeal of reality TV? Well, in a culture where being visible often equals being valuable, reality TV can look like a major shortcut. For some, it seems like a much faster path to social status, to followers, to income, than the old-fashioned way of building a career over years and years. It's almost become this modern formula for a certain kind of success. And think about this. Talking about these shows has become a modern social ritual. When we chat about last night's episode at work, or debate it online, or share memes about it, we're creating this powerful sense of community. It's almost as if we're all gathered around a digital campfire, sharing in the same story. Now, it's absolutely crucial to understand that the intense drama and the division we see between people on these shows, that's rarely an accident. It is very often a deliberate production strategy. Our brains are just wired to react strongly to extremes, so producers often create these very clear hero, villain, and victim characters to trigger our emotions and keep us glued to the screen. So let's bring all of these different threads together. If we look past all the drama and the production, what are the fundamental human needs that are actually being met by this whole phenomenon? For the people who choose to actually participate, the motivations are almost always rooted in these core human drives. We're talking about the drive for recognition, that deep need to be seen and validated, the search for a clear identity, and the desire to prove one's worth, all of it supercharged by the promise of quick success. So when you look at the whole picture, it's clear reality television is so much more than just simple entertainment. It taps directly into some of our deepest psychological needs. Everything from our need to belong and have an identity, to our desire for recognition and just plain old emotional stimulation. These shows are a platform where these needs can be explored and, in a way, met. So maybe then, the question of whether these shows are good or bad kind of misses the point. They continue to exist because they are very effective at addressing real human needs. The more interesting question, the one for each of us to consider, is what need is this show fulfilling for me, and how much space do I really want it to take up in my life?